Hello and welcome. My name is Sean Burke and I'm here to introduce the Easy English Guide to Proper Pronunciation. This video and the ones that follow are an introduction to my book, which is also called The Easy English Guide to Proper Pronunciation. This is an indispensable guide for teachers and students learning English. So, today I'm going to do 4 videos. The first one, this introductory video, to describe the book, and then 3 more. The first one on the consonant sounds, the second on the vowels and diphthongs, and then a third one on the major consonant blends. Later I'm going to do some more videos, being a detailed treatment of each page of the guide, so each sound or group of sounds. So let's have a look at the guide. I've got only a proof copy here. I'm waiting for them to come from the printers. If you're quick, you'll probably get one before me. This is the title page. Legal stuff. Don't forget to read that. Dedication. This book is dedicated to my father, Terry Burke. And the reason is that when I was young, he often sang and often spoke some poetry. Now, he often didn't know the whole song or whole poem, but that didn't matter. He was so enthusiastic about the things that he did sing and say that it rubbed off, and I've made it into a bit of a profession. So never underestimate what you can do as a father. There you go. That's for Dad. Hope he reads it. The contents page, as you can see, the 3 major parts of this book are the sections on consonants, vowels and diphthongs, and consonant blends. A section describing the format of the guide. Actually, it's pretty straightforward, so maybe I don't need that page there. Consonants. Okay, and this is what each page of the guide looks like. I'll just bring it up close so you can see. So here, the sound, in its common forms, there's B and P, which are often confused by people learning English for the first time, whether that's children or people learning English as a subsequent language. Then we have some common words and common names and place names. And over here on this side, the work, yeah? Poems, tongue twisters, songs, verses, and I call it the work because this is where the work happens. Yeah. So it's tongue twister here. Betty Botter. Betty Botter bought some butter, and a couple more, and this one down here. Peter Piper, very famous one. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So what I would do in my class, and I describe this in the book, is I might take a couple of pages. There's K and G on the next page. I'd probably take as many as 2 pages, but no more than that, because this is actually quite tiring work. What you're asking a student of English to do when you do this work with them is you're asking them to change ingrained habits, habits of speech that they've had since they were children. And it's not an easy thing to do. Maybe 1 in 100 students you come across, this is my experience, is a natural and just gets things first time and can speak in a very natural way in their chosen second language. But this is very rare, and I'm certainly not one of those myself. So a couple of pages per day at the most, and I generally choose whichever one I feel like, or one that I know a particular student in the class needs. Okay, so vowels, consonant blends. Of course, these are a bit harder than straight consonants. Here's one of my favourites. I wrote this one. I've written quite a few of them, in fact, because it's very hard to find verses and songs for every sound. So I've had to fill in the gaps. Father Placid, here's Father Placid, he's a Benedictine priest. Father Placid's pleasant priests play and pray and play and pray all day. Yes, they do. Then, towards the end, a description of how I use this in my class. It's not binding. Some suggestions for extension work. Index of verses. Of course, you should be able to find the verse if you're a teacher because you know what the sounds are in the verse. But anyway, this speeds it up sometimes. A list of illustrations. Completion chart. Yeah, you can copy that. You can copy that and blow it up and put it on the wall. And it helps you keep track of where you need to go with your next lesson. At the end of the book, a little bit about me and a little bit about my other book, which is also worth reading. Okay, so that's the guide. It's very simple, very short, very economical and worth getting. So I've told you what it is, I've shown you what it is. Why do you need to get it? Some of you are probably sitting there thinking, I don't need that. I don't need that in my teaching, or I don't need that to learn English. You need it. Take it from me, you need it. If it had existed already, I wouldn't have written it. I wrote this in my class over the last 12 months. I've been using, songs and poems and tongue twisters before that, but in a less structured way. And I wrote this because I knew I really needed it to teach English. For teachers, what this does is it reminds you that pronunciation is actually something really important for the English language learner. It's probably more important in English than in just about any other language. And that's because English is such a dog's breakfast of a language. I often describe it as a traffic accident of languages. And because it's such a mixed bag of sounds and origins, you really need something very structured to go through, diagnose the challenges that your particular students have, and also allow them to practice in those areas. It saves me preparation time for every lesson. This work takes up the first 15 minutes of every English language lesson I teach. And you could use it like that, or you could punctuate your lessons with it. You could have it in the middle. You could have it at the end of the day. It's fun. It's a good thing to have at the end of the day as well. So it's really useful for that reason. For students, it's also useful to be reminded that pronunciation is important. And many, many students of English learn to read very well. And they learn to write very well. And their grammar is fine. And they would call themselves bilingual. They can speak English, they say. But they can't speak English very well. Their speaking skills are often solidified early on in the piece, and nobody bothers to correct them. So if you, as a student, get this book, use these videos, you'll be able to pinpoint those areas where you need to practice. And the better your speech is, the more people regard you as actually speaking English, because that's how people come in contact with you. As an English language learner, they don't often read you, they more often hear you. If you're going for a job interview, you will be heard more than you're read. And in any event, you can get someone to proofread your work and fix up any mistakes you might have in it. But when you're there in the interview, you really need to be able to speak, make yourself understood, and earn a certain level of respect for your language skills. So, those are the reasons that you need the book. Now, you may need more than one. You may need a class set. And if you need a class set, you'll have to purchase a class set because you can't copy whole books. But if you live in a country which has financial straits, if you're in a school that just can't afford that sort of expense, then get in contact with me and we can make some sort of arrangement. earthcider@gmail.com. It'll be at the end of the video as well. If you'd like a sample copy, if you're sitting there saying, well, it seems like a good thing, but I'm not sure if I want to be bothered with it. If you need a sample, just contact me. I'll send you a sample. Again, the sample will be watermarked, but you'll be able to use it to some degree. You'll be able to get a really good idea of how that might fit in with what you do. And the sample's free. So, I recommend it highly. The Easy English Guide to Proper Pronunciation. I've been using it for a year. It saves me time. It makes my classes more fun. The students, honestly, I didn't even know they would do this. They go away and they practice without me asking them to, because it's something that genders such enthusiasm. So, you know, I think that's the greatest recommendation for the strategy, is that the students themselves are grabbing it and flying with it. So, what more can I say?